Welcome. Hello, Wellspring. Hi, Zoomland. We're going to mute you, Zoom people, but we'll unmute you at the end of our service. My name is Judy Bethman, and I'm part of the Sunday, July 30th, 2023 service teams. We have a few announcements. Early birds meet Sunday morning at 9:30 via Zoom. The link is in the weekly email and on the website. Today, we have a video by former NFL player Billy Ward titled, How to Love and Be Loved. Our upcoming speakers for August, on the 6th is Dr. Edward, on the 13th is Reverend Sandy, on the 20th is Reverend Kamatara, and on the 27th is Shirley Angellove. Wonderful. Our Thursday evening group meets every Thursday at 7 p.m. We're continuing with our Braden series, Missing Links, and it's been a real eye-opening experience. Apparently there's going to be no dowsing in August. Maybe they'll start in September. And lastly, our prayer team remains ready to serve and support you. You may submit a request via our webpage or give it to Edward. Our prayer team meets virtually on Tuesday afternoons at 4:15 to pray with you. Please consider sitting quietly in your quiet space during that time. We know we are one in spirit, and the energy of prayer knows no limits. Let us breathe in, and as we exhale all the worries and stresses of our week and our day and our month and our life. Let's do that again. Oh, great Spirit, Mother, Father, God, we invite you to participate with us in this service. We know you are all ever present in our lives, in our cells, in our atoms. We know that we are connected through the great cosmos. We are thankful that we have this knowledge and this assurance that you are always with us. And for this, we give great thanks. And so it is. Okay, please stand if you're able, and let's sing Top of the World. I'm on the top of the world, looking down on creation, and the only explanation I can find is the love that I found and the spirit all around. That's what puts me at the top of the world. Such a feeling's coming over me. There is wonder in everything I see. Not a cloud in the sky, not the sun in my eyes, and I know that it is real and not a dream. I'm on the top of the world, looking down on creation, and the only explanation I can find is the love that I found and the spirit all around. That's what puts me at the top of the world. Ooh, and so it is. Okay, let us read together our vision, mission, and affirmation. Our vision is to elevate spiritual consciousness in our world. Our vision is to support individual spiritual quests through celebration, study, counsel, loving fellowship, and service. Our affirmation. As we celebrate independence this month, I affirm that I am free from all bondage imposed by my limited thinking. I now know that I am infused with unlimited possibility and that the divine supports me in all that I attempt. And so it is. And now it's my great pleasure to welcome back Ana Maria Rosales.
I remembered the mic today. Get out of your own way. Don't be so afraid. Take a chance on a moment, slipping away. Don't you know it's beautiful? Open your eyes and you'll find how to trade your rain for sunshine. You can walk along with me under the sun and through the breeze. It's easy if you want it to be. Like the mountains to the sea, let our love flow downstream. It's easy if you want it to be. There's no hope inside the place you hide, so talk to me. It might take some time, a change of mind will build you a dream. So turn it up, turn around, come with me and you'll see everything is everything. You can walk along with me under the sun and through the breeze. It's easy if you want it to be. Like the mountains to the sea, let our love flow downstream. It's easy if you want it to be. It's easy if you want it to be. Sun is burning bright, take it as a sign. Let it shine over you. Don't say a word or make a sound. Let my love surround you. It's high time you see. It's easy if you want it to be. It's easy if you want it to be. You can walk along with me under the sun and through the breeze. It's easy if you want it to be. Like the mountains to the sea, let our love float downstream. It's easy if you want it to be. It's easy if you want it to be. It's easy if you want it to be. It's easy if you want it to be.
Thank you, Ana Marie. That was lovely. Too often we make things harder than they actually are. You know. All right. Today's reading is about love. And I'm going to do the 1 Corinthians 13, which you all know practically by heart if you grew up in the Christian tradition. And then I'm going to do a reading from John 13, which I didn't know very well. So here is 1 1 Corinthians 13. If I speak in the tongues of men and angels but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and I have a faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put away the childhood things behind me. For now we see only reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three remain, faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. Here's John 13:34 and 35. I will give you a new commandment. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you shall also love one another. This is how all will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. Ernest Holmes says about this passage in John 13, love is the eternal central flame of the universe, nay, the very fire itself. It is written that God is love, and that we are his expressed likeness, the image of the eternal being. Love is self-givingness through creation, the impartation of the divine through the human. Love is an essence, an atmosphere which defies analysis, as does life itself. It is that which is and cannot be explained. It is common to all people, to all animal life, and evident in the response of plants to those who love them. Love reigns supreme over all. The essence of love, while elusive, pervades everything, fires the heart, stimulates the emotions, renews the soul, and proclaims the spirit. Only love knows love, and love only knows love. Words cannot express its depth or meaning. A universal sense alone bears witness to the divine fact. God is love, and love is God, and you are God, and you are love. All right, well, as is my wont, the teacher and me, do we have our slide for the three criterias? Okay, this is our review. My three criteria of science of mind. Criteria number 1 is, everything is God or spirit. Okay. Number 2, the answer is love. But I helped you. Would you have known that?
Yeah. We know you.
Yeah, okay. And the third is change or choose. And it could be choose your thinking, choose your life too, couldn't it? Yeah. Okay, those are my three criteria. When you do science of mind, it all boils down to those three things. Now, on the fifth Sunday of the month, sometimes we can't get a speaker, and so I'm allowed to go through the YouTube, vast vault of sermons, ideas and stuff. And I found this one about this NFL football player, and I thought it was very nice. You know, when it's 100 degrees out, You don't want something so heavy that it's pounding across your head. You want something nice and light and airy. So I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did.
Here's the deal. Life is really all about love. I'm not just saying that because I'm a father of a newborn baby. I'm saying that because as a teacher and as a therapist, I've seen people basically choose between two things: love or something else. And what I've witnessed and experienced is this: when people choose love, they always choose right. I was asked to speak today on the topic of illumination, and it made me think about the way the light inside us all can shine. And my favorite way is through our love, which can illuminate in our relationships. The most important relationship that we'll ever have is the relationship that we have with ourselves. And next comes the relationships that we share with one another. As simply as I can put it, we are here on this very earth to love and to be loved. And love is light. In a second, what I'd like to do with you today is a brief, relaxing, guided imagery exercise where I'm going to have you close your eyes and consider 3 expressions of light that can return us to love. I'm going to have you close your eyes and consider 3 items, and then associate each item with a person in your life. So let's get ready. I'd ask that you put your feet flat on the floor, palms facing up in your lap, and when you're ready, gently allow your upper eyelids to meet your lower eyelashes. Close your eyes, and let's everyone take a deep breath. Relax your shoulders. The first item I'd like you to picture is the sun. Picture the sun in the big blue sky. Feel the warmth of her rays, and consider how the sun continues to show up every day, sharing its light and energy unconditionally, even on a cold February morning. Is there somebody in your life that reminds you of the sun? Somebody that loves you unconditionally? Picture that person now and feel their love. The next item I'd like you to picture is a lighthouse. See the light emanating from the top of the structure at the ocean's edge, where the sea meets the land, and remember its primary purpose: to help guide sailors and boaters home. Is there somebody in your life that helps guide you home to your authentic self, to the truth of who you are, to the person that you're meant to be, to the path that you're meant to be on? Picture that person now and consider the direction that they're encouraging you to head in. The last item I'd like you to picture is a disco ball. See the light bouncing off of it? Think of the energy in the room where you might find this unique object. Maybe you hear your favorite song playing. Is there somebody in your life that reminds you of a disco ball? Somebody that shows up with a fun, loving energy wherever they are, wherever they go? Picture that person now and consider how they're encouraging you to live in love. Gently float open your eyes. Today I'd like to share a story with you about a student of mine. His name was Daniel. I met Daniel the very first year I was a classroom teacher. I had no experience as a theology teacher in an all-boys prep school, and somehow this little guy, this 103-pound wrestler, he became more of a teacher to me than a student, because he showed me and everybody in the school building how to shine their love and their light by being an example of how it's done. You see, the same year that I met this little guy was the same year that I was cut from the NFL. Felt like a little bit of my light had been taken from me when the Baltimore Ravens told me I could no longer be their quarterback. I had trained with them all summer. I felt like a kid in Disney. I was playing and competing with some of my childhood heroes in stadiums that I had only visited as a fan. Playing in the NFL was an incredible experience. But at the end of the summer, a week before our first game on the last day of cuts, I was released. And I had to return home to New Jersey to figure out a new career. I had graduated from Georgetown University with a degree in psychology, so I guess I could teach that. But I was hired at an all-boys prep school to coach football and teach theology. It's kind of like a life course for the incoming freshmen. Gave me the opportunity to teach the guys the importance of being kind, caring, and thoughtful. It really healed my broken heart. I loved teaching as much as I loved playing football. And that's when I met Daniel. He came into my classroom like a little disco ball. He had an energy and a light about him that everybody wanted to be around. Daniel connected with everybody in the school. I used to love watching him walk the hallways. His smile was reflected back to him in every corner. Athletes, band guys, cool guys, smart guys, teachers and coaches, all felt the love of this pint-sized 103-pound wrestler. People loved Daniel because he was free. He was free to be himself. And most of us know how difficult that can be. I remember when Daniel found out it was my birthday during his freshman year. He took it upon himself to create a homemade birthday card for me. He even taped a Starburst candy and a pack of Wrigley's gum to the inside. He presented it to me in front of the class. Daniel was redefining cool, and he made it cool to be thoughtful, caring, and kind. And his classmates loved him for it. It was in this way that our brotherly bond began. And it was during his sophomore year that Daniel started a campaign for me to date his older cousin, Leah, so that we could officially be family. He even brought her to a wrestling match one weekend. I was only there with about one other person, and Daniel had about 15 relatives cheering him on that night. It was a beautiful night. And then Daniel came into school the following Monday, and he was mad. And he said, "Mr. Ward, you brought your girlfriend to my wrestling match when I brought my cousin to introduce you?" I said, "Whoa, Daniel, hold on a second. That girl happens to be my younger sister. And second of all, I didn't know you were trying to play matchmaker that night." Felt like a real compliment to my teachings. My message of love and be loved was really making an impact. For years, I had been practicing shouting commands for the NFL football field, but I had been practicing another message all along. I was never the type of football player that was overly aggressive or tough. I never yelled at my teammates, and I never yell at my students in the classroom. Some people say this may make people walk all over you, but I believe otherwise. An older teacher once told me when I first began teaching that I shouldn't smile in the classroom until after a few months have gone by. I guess the theory is that the students would think I was tough, but I love to smile. And I have a different theory. I believe that the toughest guy in the room is not the football guy. It's the loving guy. It's the most manly thing that could ever be accomplished. It's not that difficult to do, but it requires great thought and courage. I loved football because I thought it was one of the finest team sports. When we were on the field, playing together, relating as teammates, defending each other, protecting each other, doing a little dance in the end zone to celebrate the points we score. Football was really about relationships. And so is love. Love is a team sport, a team that we are all a part of. And on this team, Daniel's an all-star. But Daniel never had the glory of an end zone dance or even a dance at his junior prom. And that's because his light extinguished way too early. One night during Daniel's junior year in February, he was rolling up the mats with his wrestling buddies and he collapsed in pain. Daniel suffered an aortic aneurysm and he died early the next morning in the hospital. It was tragic. The date was February 7th, 2002. Exactly 12 years ago today. I don't think it's any coincidence that I'm here today with the opportunity to share Daniel's story with you. Daniel is my lighthouse. When the water is dark and dangerous, the lighthouse can provide a warm and inviting light, almost as if to say, "This way home." Daniel brought me home literally by bringing me to his home. The night after he died, I visited his family, along with a number of other teachers from our school. We were all greeted by Daniel's cousin, Leah, who thanked us for being there during such a devastating time. I introduced myself as Daniel's theology teacher, and she replied, "Oh, you're the one that Daniel wanted me to marry." It was kind of like a light went on. I ended up sitting with Leah and her mom, sharing stories of Daniel and looking at pictures. It was a really difficult time for us both, but it was hard for me not to notice that Leah had the same passion and energy for life that I saw in Daniel. I wish he could have seen us meet. Riding home that night, I quietly recalled my last moment with Daniel. He was visiting my class. And like many times before, Daniel would just stroll right in. And because I was sitting behind the desk, he came over to me, and we were about the same height, and our shoulders bumped into each other as we talked. I introduced him to the class as a 103-pound wrestler who was having a great season. And the younger guys just kind of looked at him in awe. I mean, here was this guy, smaller than most of them, but he carried so much weight and loving energy. And on his way out of the classroom that morning, Daniel turned over his shoulder in his cool little way and said, "See you around, Mr. Ward." Daniel died early the next morning. A couple weeks later, I thought I saw Daniel at school. A student was sitting with their back to me, and it looked like Daniel. And for a moment, I believed that it was him. But soon the student stood, and it obviously wasn't Daniel. But to me, the message was clear. The same love and light that I witnessed and experienced in Daniel could be found in everyone and everything. And so I began to look for Daniel, to look for love in everyone and everything. And at the crucial point in my life, even in myself, Daniel was right when he said, "See you around." Because the same love in him is within us all. Just as I tell my students back at school, there is so much goodness in you. And you are all, each and every one of you, worthy of love and belonging, just as you are, imperfectly perfect. And once you begin to open yourself to love, you will learn to see it everywhere, creating a peace, a freedom, and a truth that will shift your overall entire experience. Think about it. If I stand right here and I shift just a little bit, my view changes entirely. Well, the same is true for love. If we can begin to make an effort to love and to be loved without any conditions, we will bring a whole new level of meaning to our relationships and to our experience. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes one more time. Picture the sun. Author Anthony DeMello writes, "Has the sun ever said to the earth, 'You owe me'? Look what happens to a love like that. It lights up the whole sky." Is there somebody in your life that could use a little unconditional love? Picture that person now. Remember the lighthouse. Remember its primary purpose, to help guide sailors and boaters home. Is there somebody in your life that could use a little guidance, a little direction? Picture that person now. And lastly, picture the disco ball. Daniel was free to be himself because he loved himself unconditionally. We could all reflect a little bit of love back home so that we can dance like nobody's watching. Is there something in your life that you've been waiting to do? Gently float open your eyes and smile. 12 years ago, after Daniel died, I decided to ask his cousin Leah out for dinner in his honor. We had so much to talk about. And I am happy to tell you that 4 years after that, I asked Leah to marry me. She continues to light up my life every day. Leah is my sunshine. And now we have 2 sons. Our oldest is almost 3, and his name is John Daniel, who we affectionately call JD. And he's our little disco ball. We also have another son who's just 12 weeks old now. His name is Casey Christian, and he's our little lighthouse. When people ask Leah if the boys will play football in the NFL someday like their daddy did, she says, maybe. But our only wish for them is to truly live a life where they can love and be loved. Thank you very much.
That was great.
How many times have you heard someone say, if I had his money, I could do things my way? But little they know, it's so hard to find one rich man in 10 with a satisfied mind. Once I was rich in fortune and fame, everything I dreamed for to get a start in life's game. But suddenly it happened, I lost every dime. But I'm richer by far with a satisfied mind. Money can't buy back your youth when you're old, or a friend when you're lonely, or love that's gone cold. The wealthiest person is a pauper at times compared to the man with a satisfied mind. When life is ended, the time has run out. My friends and my loved ones, I'll leave, there's no doubt. But one thing's for certain, when it comes my time, I'll leave this world with a satisfied mind. I'll leave this world with a satisfied mind.
All right, it's time. I think we may have adjusted a few things while we're trying to get the music up. We'll get something squared away here in a minute. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'll just talk quietly. It's now time for our offering. And Sharon, if you'd bring it up, that would be fine. We have, thank you. And thank you, Sharon, for your service. What you behold in front of you may appear to be a basket with checks and monies in it. But it's really our acknowledgement that every one of us is 100% supported by Spirit. We all have access to that abundance, which we know is part of the One. So we see this full to overflowing, just as each and every one of our lives is full to overflowing. We have all the love we can open ourselves up to. We have the joy and the peace and the satisfied mind because we know we are living in abundance. There is nothing but abundance right here, right now, in each and every one of us. So we know this abundance that has been shared so lovingly with Wellspring supports the lights, the yard work, the electricity, the physical structure, but we also know that it goes out by way of our tithing to the greater community, just as your light and your love flow through this service and out to everyone we meet. And for this we give thanks. And so it is. Thank you. Well, we have a couple of announcements, I think, coming up. If nothing else, we have thank you very much for being here today. And there are a number of folks who have contributed to this service. And I hope they were able to relax after we got our little technical difficulties worked out. But Cleona, our hats off to you for dealing with that, and Edwin and Anna Marie for the music. We are very grateful for that as well. So you may stay around after the Zoom service and chat with one another if you wish. And otherwise, please join us over in the social hall for some goodies, coffee and so forth. So now please stand if you're able and read with me the benediction, which will be followed by our congregational song. Spirit in the midst of us is mighty. Joy, peace, and eternal life are our true nature and flow through us into the world. And so it is.